I think we are live. If I am, let me know real quick in the chat box. If I'm not, also let me know in the chat box right there. I guess you won't know how to chat, so I mean, you'd probably not do that. But anyway, today has been a very interesting day for the crypto market thus far, but I don't really want to dwell on all that happened previously. Matter of fact, I'm actually significantly more excited about what's about to happen today. We've been discussing for a while that Tuesday is the interesting day to watch out for. And as, well, time has been progressing here, I just want you guys to all note, Monday was pretty okay. Tech stocks are doing amazing. Today could be, again, that day where things get wiped out. Again, I don't want to be the one who's fear-mongering. By the way, here, I've been able to add the chat again in the bottom right. As you can see right here, I've been able to add the chat again so you can see yourself talking. But I do want to quickly warn that in about 20 minutes from now, all right, stock market's opening up again. And this time around, I decided, you know what, let's stream a little bit later so you guys can all see the stock market opening. We can see what's happening because at the end of the day, we are right now in one of the most interesting battles for stocks in a while. And that has to do with the AI bubble narrative that's being formed. And thus far, every single time something interesting happens to these AI stocks, the crypto market also seems to be on the opposite side of it. For example, here, sentiment is shifting again. Today, AI bubble callers, this is yesterday, are now beginning to wonder if the AI is the next big thing narrative is coming up again. And as a result, many of the large AI names are up more than 5%. The cycle of AI bubble to AI is the next big thing is happening even more frequently now at an even faster pace. And as sentiment swings, so does investor capital, and so do AI stocks. Utilize periods of sentiment polarity to your advantage. Well, this is basically what we described over the past few days, that if you are really keen on the details, if you're really paying close attention, you can actually make a lot of money just purely based on the idea that Sunday pump, Monday, Tuesday dump, and actually weekly, let's call it dump, weekend pump. Objective investors will win in most in this market. Anyway, if I go to quickly show you, the most important news that came out today was this. I'll talk about it in just a second, but let me quickly find, here we go. All right, a few interesting news pieces have come out just now that I want to quickly share first. First of all, U.S. Treasury Secretary 𝗵𝗫 says there's a very good chance President Trump announces the new Fed chair before Christmas. You know, it's interesting that if Fed Chair Jerome Powell decides to not cut the interest rates, I wonder how interesting this little new decision is going to be. But matter of fact, I think that regardless of what they do over on December 10th with regards to the interest rates, most likely we will just see the new announcement for who's going to be after Fed Jerome Powell still within this year. And you can say that as good as bad. All we know is that thus far, Jerome Powell has received a lot of criticism, and not always is the next person better. I remember when it comes to the crypto SEC situation that we remembered, or if you remember, we wanted to get rid of we get rid of Jay Clayton. And we finally were going to get a crypto native person, Gary Gensler, in. And it turned out that that was the worst thing that ever happened to crypto. And so I'm not going to necessarily say that whoever comes next will be better. It's just different. Anyway, a Ukraine little piece. Ukraine has agreed to the full terms of President Trump's peace plan to end their war. Interesting. And then we have Alphabet, Google extending gains today to nearly 4% during overnight trading. The stock has now added $800 billion in market cap over the last 30 days, which is absolutely crazy. And if we open it up right here, you can see actually over the past couple of hours, slight little decline here, but over the whole period, especially since we covered it yesterday, that was pretty freaking good, huh? Because again, I guess we started yesterday when we were watching the stream at roughly 311, and right now we are at 329 or so for Google. S&P, let's quickly check back again on that as well. So throughout the day yesterday, we started it off at, let's quickly see here, this is a 1 minute chart, but it's not that many minutes. We started off yesterday at, let's quickly take a look at this, at roughly 6660. And ended up at 6,700. So also pretty much up. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. And for NASDAQ, we started at roughly 24,450. Ended up at 24,900. So again, also a pretty steep incline. Pretty freaking good. Now, where am I warning you guys about today? I'm saying 15 more minutes until it opens up. Most of the news that came out, everything has been pretty nice. But we also have got my analyst in here later on talking a little bit about what's happening with regards to the charts and what we're thinking. But again, let me quickly pull it up here. Breaking September PPI inflation rises to 2.7%, above expectations of 2.6%. Core PPI inflation fell to 2.6%, below expectations of 2.7%. And PPI inflation remains less of a problem than the weakening labor market. we see as December rate cuts are on their way. Anyway, guys, if you're watching the stream right now, which, I mean, we've been going for about 5 minutes here, so, I mean, you're probably watching it right now. Make sure you go ahead and quickly press that like button on the stream. You've got absolutely nothing to lose. Make sure you press that like button right now. We've got 161 people in here. All right, all the freaking family. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and saying hi. You may be lekker bezig houden, lekker grap. Don't buy Trump's hype, Dusty. We're not. I don't necessarily like to buy Trump's hype. The Dusty Man is back with vengeance, live direct and kicking ass. You know, you sound almost like AI with the emoji use, but I appreciate you stopping by and saying hi, my brother. Salvador says press that like button, damn it. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Because at the end of the day, likes don't do anything, but if you're watching this and you're getting some sort of value out of it, or you're just here to chill and say hi, I always appreciate you for pressing the like button, and just, you know, say it as a reminder for if you didn't think about it. It does help the stream out, which is why I obviously keep on saying it. But yeah, let me quickly text here in the group to see if all is good. Let's see. There we go. And let's quickly get this cooking. All right, bro. So this is actually another funny thing that we saw a little bit earlier. It was actually Eric Trump, who, by the way, right now is going around showcasing like these American Bitcoin mining facilities, which I think was quite interesting. But I think it's kind of interesting to me how he's still kind of claiming that Ethereum is going to go for a massive surge. And the funniest thing is, a lot of people are clowning him, right? Soul Jakey here said, "Aye, bro, at this point, they're tarded or a massive injection is about to happen." And I will respond to y'all by saying, you know, in reality, when it comes to all this, people seem to really, really underestimate just how crazy a crypto market can be in a very, very short amount of time. You know, it can really be quite severe, quite fast. And so it doesn't necessarily, I mean, it could be some insider info, but last time he gave a statement like this, it was very wrong. He said at 3,400 ETH that we're going to go up like crazy, and we went down like crazy. So he was very much wrong. But then again, in the grand scheme of things, do not underestimate just how fast, if the market picks up here, especially in the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes from now, just how fast things can actually cascade into new highs and new highs from that. Again, things in the market that is really, really bullish happen fast. Let me quickly try to add this guy here. Let me see. Test, test, test. Can you hear me, bro?
Yes, all loud and clear.
All right, guys. So for all of you watching right now, I brought in the freaking the squad. All right, and if you guys do not know, he's one of the main analysts over here, and he actually is also somebody providing a lot of valuable information over on RX. If you've not seen it yet, charts posted every single day, and also a very interesting macro expert. So when it comes to these let's call it AI bubble pieces or stock pieces, he also has a lot of valuable information, I would say. And so today I thought, you know what, instead of only talking about the charts, let me also quickly ask you what you're thinking about the current AI bubble or the situation when it comes to that, if you've got some thoughts. I mean, today, I wouldn't say that much news came out. Stock market is up for the most part, at least since yesterday, things still look quite nice. Also in pre-market trading, Google, everything looking pretty freaking good. I'm thinking maybe you've got some overarching thoughts. Maybe you're watching some specific AI stocks the last couple of weeks or months, or maybe you have something to say about Bitcoin here.
Well, to start off with the tech stocks and the fear of the AI bubble, as people like to call it, I wouldn't call it a bubble, and that's my own personal opinion for several reasons. Because we see that the growth for data centers, at least, up until like 2028, it's still a crazy amount of value that they're going to add to the current economy and to the current tech stocks, namely AMD and Nvidia. Also some smaller ones here and there. I do think that we are certainly overextended when it comes to certain tech stocks. I wouldn't even say they are overvalued, but we're more or less overextended because we rallied for like, well, 100%, and we didn't really have any significant pullback. Well, and that's basically what we're seeing for stocks like Nvidia and AMD and such. So no, I wouldn't call it a bubble. I would call it just a healthy correction that is ought to take place in any market, especially if you go up like crazy. And of course, there's a bit of a panic here and there, and it's going around in the news. AI bubble, people are bailing out. You know, you see also significant people taking profits. That is certainly a fact. but that's not a very significant thing because people take profits all the time, even in the higher ends of the management of AMD and other companies. So I wouldn't say that like that's very significant, but people like to zoom in on these things to make sense of what is happening, if you understand what I mean. So for example, when we have a bullish market and there's people from the management taking big amounts of profits in the millions, then they don't bat an eye. But when we have a correction like this, they're trying to make it, try to zoom in on actions such as these, because at this moment we're going down. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it in a quick summary. Crypto, well, to zoom in right now,
you want me to share your screen? I'm not sure what you're showing over there.
Would be great.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. So my screen. I wanted to start up with something differently right now.
Mind you, real quick, we've got about 11 minutes until the market's open, so we do have to quickly bounce back at that point. I'm just telling you so we don't forget to at least take 2 minutes before that to prepare ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So if we look at Dixie, I don't know why I have 2 tabs open. There we go. If we look at Dixie, we see that we're dropping right now. And Dixie is the dollar index. So that is the main reason why XRP also, no, not the main reason, but for example, why crypto is not going down as much. But the intriguing thing is that we see Dixie dumping a little bit, but we don't see necessarily a big surge from crypto. So that is certainly something to look ahead for. So basically with XRP, we still believe that, the pattern we had, the channel, there was a small breakout here. Now, in hindsight, of course, I anticipated as well, if you watch the analyses, that this was more or less of a fake out because we just went back into the channel. We still believe that there is enough room for bullish sentiment to return. Why? Because we see the entire channel not as a bearish market, but more of a, a big correction, because there is no real bearish market where you have years of bearish sentiment going on. No, it's still in 2025, mid 2025 that this started. And I don't think it's, I classify a bear market more as like a 1 year plus market condition. And I don't see us still in bearish territory in a couple months from now. Absolutely not. Can be even weeks, because as Dusty correctly said, the crypto market is absolutely crazy. And the volatility that can suddenly arrive, especially when the panic ceases, still amazes a lot of people here and there. So that is my look on XRP. Dusty, did you want to say anything? Because I believe I interrupted you for a second.
No. All it was, you can never interrupt me, brother. What I will say, actually, good segue right there, my boy. I love you. Is quickly, guys, if you're watching the stream right now, if you've not pressed that like button yet, I will say it every few minutes, whenever I can think of it, whenever I don't forget. You got to press that button, because otherwise, bad things happen. Not to me, but probably to Mr. Terminator over here, all right? I've heard from the freaking, from the back end people that if he doesn't get enough likes, he's going to be sent back to Austria. So, if you're going to help this brother out, you're not doing it for me. I am seeing the chat.
I would like to stay here, you guys. I don't want to get deported back to Austria.
Yeah, makes sense. So somebody says you're not XRP army. You're hyping. Wait, what does he say here? You're hyping every 0815 token. True XP warriors don't do this. You're not XRP army. Okay, first of all, I will never claim to be in an army. That's one. Second of all, what is a 0815 token? Third of all, true XRP warriors don't do this. And this is always funny to me. This is coming in the most humblest of ways ever. But I don't think there's really many people out there in this world that have made more videos on XRP. Matter of fact, I think there's probably not more than 5 people who've made more. I don't even know them, because I think I might be number, at least 1 to 3. So when you say it like that, who exactly is a real XRP warrior? That's one. And second of all, really, why do you have all these rules for it, man? Just hold your freaking coins, be excited about what you're excited for, And don't think of it as a lifestyle, man. Just buy your freaking coins and move on. You know, I've probably got more XRP than 99% of the people in the world, which I know is a fact, of course. I love it, but it's not my freaking life, you know? At the end of the day, I love many freaking different crypto coins, just like with stocks. You could be an Nvidia bull to the death of you, but if you're also holding some freaking 𝗕𝗪𝗶𝘀 or another stock, is that bad? I don't know. When it comes to XRP as well, just because you love XRP doesn't mean you have to automatically hate every other coin. I don't think that's necessarily true. Anyway, man, we have, let's see, 6.5 more minutes. So let me quickly see in the chat box. I see United States Army is my jam. Fair enough. Where are you guys all watching from today? Grant says it's lovely in Austria. Maybe in the summer, though, for sure. Austria is nice. I mean, Arnold must know here. Austria is actually freaking beautiful.
Obviously, it depends on the season.
Well, let me know in the chat box real quick where you guys are all watching from. And as you know, I'm not really the biggest fan of selling my crypto. I mostly just buy crypto, and that's also what I've been doing this week, man. If you look at my freaking accounts, it's kind of sketchy the amount of freaking coins I've been adding to my what do you call it? Like bundle here, I guess I should call it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And the main reason I've been doing that is, you may call it stupid, but the main reason I'm doing that is because I realize we're always going towards the right and up. On the time axis, we go up, and on the price axis, we go up. By the way, guys, if you want to trade crypto, also the first link we've got down below is a link to 𝗏𝗏. It's just the crypto exchange we mostly use for trading. And right now, there's also some nice bonuses. For example, if you trade a good amount, you actually get yourself a nice little 10K or a nice little Rolex for free. Or you can see these other different things that you can get for just trading. Link is down below for that. Just wanted to quickly let you all know, if you're looking for a platform to trade on, that is the one we use over here. And again, we got 5 more minutes, but you can still grab the stage if you got a few more minutes of talking about the stocks, maybe. Because again,
yeah, so we can start about the stocks. As we as we can see, the whole market right now is very volatile, because we had some major gains yesterday on Nvidia, like 5%. I mean, excuse me, AMD, which is actually a good opening. People were very happy, good sentiment. And now we can see that, you know, pre-market is opening around, well, almost the same, like -4%, -5%. So people are still a bit sketchy in regards to the tech market. I'm actually curious, are some of you holding some tech stocks as well? And if you do, which one? Please comment it in the chat. I'm very intrigued. And I'm also curious if some of you are holding 𝗕𝗪𝗏𝗏, because I believe 𝗕𝗪𝗏𝗏 is still up for a big move here and there when it comes to tech stocks. So nobody holding any tech stocks?
Also, I must say that there's also always going to be like a 30-second delay. So,
fair.
So I would say just continue with your story, and you'll see in a little bit if people actually hold or not.
I would assume people do. But,
I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of crypto people, they chose crypto because you've still got that exposure to these risky quote unquote risky things. Wow, but it's different, right? But a lot of crypto holders, I don't think necessarily are biggest fans of stocks.
Yeah, it depends, but I guess at the end of the day, diversifying is always, you know, not a bad idea here and there. But all in all, Visa, best stock. Well, Visa is like, you know, it has this monopoly position, which is still a great stock to have indeed. Let's actually take a look at Bitcoin, because we haven't done that yet. We'll get back to the stocks later on if you guys want that. I have some of both stocks and crypto. Denny 720. Which stocks do you own, Denny? I'm curious. Share it with me, man. So Bitcoin, I was actually sharing last time as well, in the Dusty live stream, that we have 2 scenarios. So the first scenario for Bitcoin is that we're doing the Elliott wave count here, is that wave 3, which usually is 1.618 Fibonacci bigger than wave 1. So this is a clear wave 1, correction wave 2. And this is, well, practically textbook Elliott wave. This would be wave 3. So if that's the case, then the rally we have here is probably going somewhere close to the 50 EMA, which is the blue line you see on the chart over here. Let me just zoom in if you guys are on your phone or some smaller device. So that's where wave 4 would end, and usually most of the time wave 5 is indeed going to be lower than wave 3. That is scenario number 1. However, because there is some subjectivity here, and it doesn't always have to make a textbook example cycle, and the cycle is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And currently, this is
mind you, we have 1 more minute, 1.5 more minute until open.
So the other scenario, which would be scenario number 2, is that we have an early wave 3 finish, and this is indeed the last wave before continuing up. I've always spoken about this on X, on Dusty's X, where I post the analyses. So this is the 2 scenarios that I am foreseeing for Bitcoin, and I think we have 1 more minute before market opens. So
45 seconds.
45 seconds indeed. So I'm very curious what is expected.
This time around, I'm also less. I don't really have any thoughts on this today. Like the PPI came out. I think that was interesting in terms of numbers, but nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy.
No.
I mean, stocks and AI is looking pretty good, but today should be just following the numbers. Should not be the best.
Yeah, today's going to be a bloodbath indeed. I see some more people commenting. Palantir. Yeah, Palantir is... it's a very interesting one indeed. For some, it's even controversial. I wouldn't say it is.
Can you open up the S&P, or should I show my screen?
You can show your screen if you want. If that's easier for you. No, not so Palantir is definitely interesting, and I definitely see them growing in the future. Owner is a sketchy guy, I would say. He's not really a public.
Oh, there we go. We broke. Okay, so S&P here down. All right, let's see Nasdaq. Why didn't I open them both up at the same spot? So S&P here broke down. Google, Alphabet, Google here going down. Bitcoin doing kind of nothing as always.
However, the thing is with the tech stocks is
okay, we're going down. You're going, sorry. All right.
Yeah. However, Google opened with a big gap up.
True.
So it's,
True. I mean, you mean through pre-market? You mean
pre-market trading? Yeah, they had like a 5% gain in pre-market trading compared to tech stocks, which opened.
They ended up yesterday. Google ended up at 319-ish, and now they're indeed at they started now 328, still currently at 323. So from that angle, you are correct. S&P not in a similar field though. S&P slowly but surely recovering again, but interesting. We actually gapped downwards today, as expected, nonetheless. But still, Google's still moving downwards. Bitcoin actually not reacting as much. I feel like an esports commentator. Bitcoin actually not reacting that much. Alpha right now going down slightly. 1 more % down as expected. Oh, with the S&P coming in with a slight incline again over on the 1 minute chart.
That doesn't sound bad at all.
Maybe there's a sport for that soon, you know? For I guess at some point.
I don't think there's any YouTubers who do that on market opening.
And another 1% down candle. Whoa, look at that. Alphabet just made a record-breaking 1% candle down on the 1 minute chart.
But basically every day in the left corner you have the bears, and in the right corner you have the bulls. So it's not many different opponents.
Pretty significantly though, 3% in just, I'm going to say 3 minutes. That's pretty heavy. Yeah. Bitcoin not reacting to it though. And S&P
is recovering for now. Still skeptical. Other tech stocks, how's AMD doing? So actually going down.
I'm showing you're showing AMD. You're going to be faster. I'm going to show your screen. Let's see here.
Yes, AMD is actually going down. A significant drop, 7%. It's like almost what we gained.
Wait, 7% gapped?
Yeah. CoreWeave is actually going down.
Can you show a lower time frame chart just so we can see what the units have looked like? Okay, I mean it's only been like 3 minutes of open, 2 minutes of open, so 1 minute chart would, basically change.
Oh, that looks nasty. That looks nasty.
How much is that down?
Like 7% as well, something like that. 6.8.
Oh my days! In 3 minutes. Huh?
Nvidia. Oh, that looks nastier, but I think it's about the same actually. No, it's actually less, around 5%.
Well, but it's way more money, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it depends, of course, how you.
So our expectations have come to fruition with this, at least mine have, with Tuesday bloodbath opening. I mean, can we consider this a bloodbath? I guess so. 5% down on Nvidia is a pretty big freaking move. I mean, if it's a $5 trillion stock, that's a lot of money, guys. Matter of fact, I'm wondering what type of accounts are already starting to post about the freaking bloodbath opening here we've seen. Let's quickly see here. Nobody's posting about it yet. I'm just seeing a post. I'm going to quickly share my own screen here about Google. The story of the day, Alphabet is now up another 4%, and Nvidia is down minus 4% on concerns over increased competition. This comes after reports that Meta is considering using Google's AI chips over Nvidia's. So is this really that bad for Nvidia? The reality is that AI compute demand is rising 50 to 70% year over year and is well above levels Nvidia can keep up with. Yeah, it makes sense. Nvidia still controls as much as 90% of the global AI chip market. And I thought they were not allowed to sell to China, but Trump is thinking about that. Of course, increased competition is a material development, but Nvidia is still the arms dealer of AI. And the fact that AI chip demand is spreading beyond Nvidia only reinforces how far we are from an AI bubble. AI demand is exploding faster than the supply. So we got Nvidia bottom,
indeed.
Alphabet top, Nvidia falling with a little inverse correlation to Google.
However, I think Google, or Alphabet, let's just call it by the official name, they released the newest version of Gemini as well, which I think it was yesterday. So I think it has something to do with that as well, but it's indeed one of the reasons as well that it's becoming a bigger competitor indeed. However, this is all, of course, would I call this a bloodbath? Well, yeah, to a certain extent, because we reversed all the gains we had yesterday in the tech market. But it's still part of the normal cycle, because if you zoom out and you check how much we actually gained without having this is CoreWeave is a bad example because it's rather new. But if we look at previous move, well, we made like 245% gain without any significant pullback. So, I mean, at one point we're gonna have that pullback. People are gonna take profit. There's gonna be some, rumors about an AI bubble, which we actually had, of course. So, to me, it's completely normal. Is it still a nasty thing? Well, of course, if you're holding it. But on the long term, the growth is still gonna be massive. I'm tired. Having said that, Danny, today I'm tired as well, man.
Danny is saying what we're all thinking. Hey boys, I want to do a little roll call. So what I do every now and then, usually every half hour or so in the stream, is we quickly check how many people are actually watching. How many people are actually alive. Because I know a lot of y'all are not behind your computer, not behind your phone actually watching. You're in the shower, you're driving your truck, you're doing something. I know what I said.
All right, double down.
There must be, theoretically speaking, out of a few hundred people, there must be somebody doing something diabolical. Right?
So you're saying there could be somebody sitting in the shower on some chair watching the stream right now and laughing his ass off.
I mean, you're saying it in a bit of a weird manner. I'm not sure if he's, sitting in the shower on his chair with his phone, but it could be. All right, I mean,
Arian Long, yo, in the truck. See, okay.
You see,
watching from my desk at work, Danny. You're a big guy. You're a soldier, man. Honestly.
Wait a minute.
Out the trash.
We got to figure out where Denny's working. Get him fired. What do you mean watching the stuff at work? Get back to work, brother.
Absolutely not.
Find out where Denny's working at and send this to his.
I'm taking it, dude. There seems to be a lot of people,
taking a shit.
Toilet. Yeah.
Why are they telling us? You know what?
I've read stories popping up here. Got pulled over by the cops. I'm on my way to work. Damn, what happened, man? Why they pulled you over?
Not in the
truck
shop.
Delivering materials. What materials are you delivering exactly?
I'm raw dogging my girl as I watch this. Hey, Banana, you get a little pin for that. I appreciate you sharing that information, dog. All right. Regardless, there was also a comment just now. Somebody sharing, hey, the Bitcoin scenarios, when should we look for one of the two to happen, right now or in the near future? Because you were in your story, then the stock market had a nice little open. So if you could maybe perhaps continue on with your thoughts on that, on the scenarios, maybe expand slightly further on them. I think Derek would very much appreciate that.
So the question is the Bitcoin scenarios when,
look at this. Sorry, this is a side note. Nvidia up 10,000% for me.
I don't think we're worried about competition and this blimp on the day. That's crazy.
10,000%?
That's crazy.
Holy shit.
Early investor here, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. That deserves indeed an applause.
Yeah, that deserves a little clap. What the fuck? That's ridiculous. Holy shit, that's crazy. All right, so get back to scenario 1 and 2, from a boy.
From my boy Derek. The Bitcoin scenarios, when should we look for one of the two to happen right now or in the near future? Well, it's definitely going to happen in the near future. And to anticipate this, well, of course, it's a bit subjective to say, yeah, okay, it's going to happen like this or it's going to happen like this. Well, first, I always like to work in stages. So the first stage for this scenario, well, actually, let's start with one. So we assume that, so we assume that wave 3 ends here, correction, wave 4, and then wave 5 final, and then we finish the A, B, C correction, meaning the whole cycle is complete on the bigger picture, and then we're going up. Two things here. I would say the first checkpoint for me would be to break at least through the 50 EMA, which is the blue line, which we haven't reached at all. I want to see a clear breakout from there. I don't want to see some choppy price action like sideways, oh, we go up a little bit. No, I want to see that real surge happening for me to say, hey, this is clearly that this is not scenario number 2, which is the scenario that we assume wave 3 is ending in this massive support zone, and that wave 4 is actually happening right now, which is actually just a correction before going down. Before going down further to finish wave 5. So I want to see, so for scenario 1 to gain more bias, I want to see that clear break from the 50 EMA. I want to see that surge. I want to see that confidence in the market. And it's a bit subjective. If you have been longer in the game, then you would understand what I mean. But to have a clear break means like this aggressive, constant surge, which happens on all sessions. So London, New York, and the yen or Asia session. For that to happen makes clear the market that we're not going to have scenario number 2 because there's too much momentum, and we're going to reach the 200 EMA, and we're going to have a clear break from that as well. That for me is like a bit more confidence that we're not going to have scenario number 2. So for the time being, because we haven't reached the 50 EMA at all, I wouldn't say it's going to be scenario 1 or scenario 2. All that I can say to answer your question is that we're definitely going to see this play out in the near future, whether it's going to be 1 or 2. I don't see us like having some sideways action right here because there's a lot of liquidity and volatility in the market right now. So I expect in the coming week to really determine which scenario it's going to be. So I hope that answers your question, Derek. So I'm a contractor, pavers, gravel, turf. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, buddy. We also have a Mr. B saying, does this move up in BTC affect altcoins?
Does this move up in BTC affect altcoins? Well, I would certainly say it would. Not all altcoins, of course, but I think there's going to be a general synergy happening there.
Sorry, one second. I'm interrupting here for just a second.
Sure.
Wait a minute. Google is finding I don't know what just happened. We look away for 1 second, and Google is just reversing all the freaking pain. Wait a minute. Google up 3% again over the past few minutes. Let me see here real quick. Whoa, what is this? Bitcoin going down, Google going up, S&P going down.
What is this?
Welcome back to the freaking theater, my boys. All right, welcome back to the freaking theater. This is exactly what I always mean. I'm gonna show your screen again. Here, let's give it a sec. Which one you? What is that?
Which one? Which provider are you using? This?
I'm not sharing that, brother. Mine looks. You don't have the pre-market trading on there. You see, it's. I don't even know how to figure it out, to be honest.
Anyway, let's check it out. Well, AMD is absolutely not agreeing with what Google is doing right now. Same to Nvidia and CoreWeave as well. But yeah, again, I don't see this continuing for a very, very long time. The thing is, though, what's surprising to a certain extent from the tech stocks, because the biggest fear, well, was the AI bubble. But then we had the Nvidia earnings report, right? And that came out quite positive, and they literally carried the market. So the AI bubble fears ceased to exist. But then on the other hand, new fears appeared with our boy Jerome Powell not willing to add any rate cuts. So actually yesterday, I believe, we had some pretty confident news that there is indeed going to be another 25 base point decrease, which should scream bullish, but we're not seeing that right now. So that is the only peculiar thing to me. However, I think in December we're still going to have that Christmas rally, December rally, as some would like to call it. I'm very optimistic still. And if that rate cuts happen, still going to be bullish for most of the markets, including crypto and definitely stocks as well, and including the tech stocks. So that is that. Let's look at crypto. Are we moving right now? Not necessarily anything special. How is the dollar index doing? We're actually going down. So we see that crypto is not really pumping while the dollar is going down.
Brother,
so
dollar going down, crypto's going down further, brother. I'm just looking at a freaking red bloodbath right now. This is why you should never have emotions if you're into crypto, all right? If you've got any sort of emotions at all, you're better off just quitting right now while you're ahead, because this is going to ruin every single thing you've ever built or thought of in your life. I do not know how to describe it better than just, because, I mean, what is this? What is this? Why does it do this to us? It opens up, for at least for Bitcoin, quite nicely, all right? Giving us a little false sense of hope with only a slight decline, even though we expected a bloodbath. Google, similarly, we expected a bloodbath, but I wouldn't say this much. Anyway, it did happen. Goes down tremendously. Then grabs us all back in, just where things, oh, you know what, my sweet child, here you go. Give some, when you're sucking, pause. Let me reset that. I was going a bit too far into that.
Rewind, DJ, rewind.
You didn't save me right there. You didn't pull me out.
Oh boy.
Regardless, Google, relieving us for just a little second. I'm not sure why I keep going with those words. To all of a sudden just break our backs. I'm not sure why I'm using all those words right here. Go right back down. Anyway, S&P, similar story, opening up really nicely, giving us a false sense of hope before smacking it in our face over the past, I'm going to say 10 minutes or so, down roughly 0.6%, which of course is a very significant amount of money. And ever since the S&P fell down, Bitcoin also going down roughly 1%, which also in turn makes every single altcoin go down. And over the past hour, I'm going to guess that it's going to be mostly red. The only one, no, never mind. I was going to say the only one surviving is Tron, but it is not true. And what is this? We now also have a coin market cap 20 index DTF. What?
That's quite interesting indeed.
Wait, what? That's a thing? So I guess this is like an index of the top 20 cryptocurrencies? Maybe? This is new. It just came in like a maximum 2 hours ago. I've never seen this before. And I use this website more than I see my
Be careful now. Be careful now.
You know what? I was just going to say I use this website a lot. And this is new to me. But yeah, everything going down over the past hour except for real assets like Bitcoin Cash and 𝗂𝗎𝗓 said 𝗓𝗨. See, is there anything pumping over the past hour? If they're pumping, you know it's a scam, right? Because they can't. Everything's going. I'm joking. Story protocol here, which is kind of interesting, is going up. Quant QNT is going up. Curve SPX 𝗓𝗂. All right. Nothing necessarily I'm too excited about. 𝗓𝗂 up 22% in the day, though. That is pretty freaking good numbers. Anyway, what were you saying about AM? Wait, somebody says. Let me go back. Let me show your screen again. What do you got open right there? Which chart is this?
Oh, this is XRP 1 hour.
I mean, XRP is actually one of the best performers recently, though. It's doing some pretty good numbers recently.
It's still peculiar how we're dumping on the dollar, but we're dumping together on crypto. So how is AMD looking? Will I be able to afford groceries this week? Absolutely not.
Wait, who said that? Oh,
no, that's nobody said that. That's just me.
Man,
that's me, brother.
Man. You're one of us. You're one of the
one of us today, indeed.
One of us. One of us.
So the only stock I have which is going actually positively right now is actually a healthcare stock. I have CNC. So I think the Trump administration is still going to extend the subsidies, but that's really the only stock in my whole. Actually, literally the only thing in my portfolio right now from crypto and stocks that is positive today. Anyway, it's not interesting to you guys. Bitcoin as well going down as of now. So yeah, it's looking sticky, guys. Up 1,227 on XRP. Speak for yourself. Well, Sterling, that's quite the juicy number you have there, good sir. Bro, XRP doesn't do shit. Check out Quant. Yeah. Peculiar.
Yeah, I think the mid BB is going to fail on the Bitcoin for RSI at 35.5, stock RSI at 35.19, and Williams percentage R is minus 64.14. I think we're in for more downside today. R dibs, I like your thinking process, but I want you to understand as well that regardless of all your technicals, if all of a sudden S&P decides to kick the bucket, like we're kind of seeing right now, you can do as much analysis as you want, but we're going to freaking zero. Not literal zero, but just looking at this, right? S&P, Bitcoin, almost exact 1-to-1. All right, almost perfect correlation right there, with Google being, I guess, the outlier here. Theoretically speaking, Google should not work in the exact same way as the S&P because, well, perhaps with some shifts happening and some companies moving over into others, and perhaps like the Nvidia, Google. I mean, if Nvidia, Google is shifting over, shouldn't that theoretically speaking just end up with a neutral line for at least NASDAQ, etc.? Because it's just some money moving from the one to the other, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's actually interesting to think of. Regardless, this, if you're going to watch this on a 1-minute chart, as I told you before, you shall never have emotions anymore, right? I'm warning y'all right now. Somebody says Sterling talking about a year ago.
Yeah, he said he's up 1,227%. It's definitely profit. Think long term, my boy. Yeah. I mean, it's fair. If it's long term, it's definitely possible.
Fair. I mean, I got to give it to him. All right. Long-term investing tends to basically.
How many likes do we have, Dusty?
I don't want to talk about it. It's not enough. It's not enough to present to you, my good sir. All right. We have not been crunching the numbers today, but it's okay. All right. The people are a bit tired. Market's going down, right? They can't.
Understandable.
But guys, if you're watching the stream right now, we've got about 250 people watching. We've had about 1,400 people stop by and say hi. Make sure you go ahead and press that like button if you haven't done it yet. We're going to be streaming here every single day. I will not miss a day until my freaking legs get, I guess my lungs or my freaking, I don't know, my brain collapses or implodes or something like that.
Or we go to zero, you know.
No, even if we go to zero, I will have to be here. I mean, how else am I going to pay for all my bills, right? I need those like freaking $7 YouTube checks every day. No, but seriously, somebody, our dip says watching the 1-minute chart is an emotional death spiral. Keep up the 5-minute for your sanity. The 1 minute is only for entry timing. Brother, I've lost my sanity a long time ago. Do you think I'd be here in half suit, half freaking blanket if I had sanity? I don't think so, brother. I like your thinking process, but I'm completely freaking cuckoo. My brain got cooked a while ago. If you see my desk, you should not even think about this, all right? I've got figurines now. You maybe ask yourself, Dusty, why do you have these? I don't even know.
It's literally to keep him sane. Literally. There's no other reason why you have
with these. No, okay, that's too much of the goodness. But Pro Orishima says, haha, bro only says long term when you're in loss. I wouldn't say I'm actually in loss. I'm not sure who else he's talking about being at a loss. And actually, almost all XRP holders, I'd say, are probably in profit right now, coming from the idea that XRP was trading below 50 cents for like many, many years. And so, I'm gonna open up. I see you tapping in some charts. I'm gonna open yours up again here real quick.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling through. On the 1 minute, we see something happening, which is inevitable at this point, but I mean, nothing crazy. Bitcoin. Okay, well, Bitcoin is looking somewhat, well, not on the 8 hourly, but yeah, so nothing exactly going on. Yeah, I remember the days when I used to be so emotional about my positions back in the day, a long time ago, and you were just laying in your bed and you couldn't sleep, and when you slept, you literally dreamt about being liquidated or whatever. These times were extreme. I don't know if anybody can relate, but if you've never had that, did you really stress about a position then? I don't think so.
Wait, did you just say, bro? I skipped over that for just a second. Did you just say you dreamt about getting liquidated?
Oh, absolutely. Right. When you back in the day, things were a lot more emotional and stressful, and you were laying in your bed and you fall asleep and you're literally dreaming about your position. Well, then you've reached a certain point.
Nah, brother, can't say I relate to that. I never dreamed about getting wrecked. Wait a minute.
Unless Ripple Bank goes live, XRP is cooked.
So this is what you get when you have an office, I guess. Somebody cooked my freaking. I'm noticing now there's like a elastic band. I'm not sure anybody can see that. Let me. You're gonna be gone for a second, my brother. I see now this thing. Somebody wrapped an elastic band over it.
And
I thought it was just the. I'm not sure if they can hear you still. I have no idea. Well, look at that. I never noticed because I just thought it was part of his decor. Huh.
Peculiar indeed.
Miss XRP says, we are up. You keep going live way before I wake up here in Cali. What time is it for you, Mrs. XRP? So right now, right, these are opening hours for the market, right? But I guess that's 9:30 a.m. for the East. So maybe 7:30 in your side? Like 7:55 now?
Yeah.
I guess it's something like that, California time.
Anyway, let's shift away from the bad vibes right now. I'm curious, guys. Let's say XRP goes to $6. What is the first thing you're gonna do? Are you still gonna hold, or are you gonna take profit and enjoy your profits and buy something nice? And if you want to buy something, tell me, what is the first thing you want to buy? I'm intrigued.
That's a good question, actually. I mean, $6 is not that crazy for an XRP.
It's not that crazy in the long term. No, absolutely.
It's not even tripling from these prices. I mean, it's crazy because we're not used to it, right? But in reality, oh, look at all this action for XRP, huh? Damn. I've been buying and selling this so much.
Holding until 2020. I'm up on XRP. You got me into it. All right, Derek.
I mean, I'm down.
Real estate.
Who said real estate? Ban that guy. Weak ass buying real estate with your crypto coins. You should be I don't want to say the word.
$6. I'm booking a nice vacation.
That's fair.
Very fair. Cover for mom's hospital bill. See, pin that guy.
That is noble. That is noble.
That guy. Yes.
Those are the things we're working for, lads. Helping out family, helping out your peoples. Exactly. Or, the other side. I shall look it up here. I shall play what exactly.
Sell 20%, buy a villa in Bali. I don't think you can actually buy real estate in Bali, right? I think the laws are quite strict. I think only an Indonesian national can buy land in Indonesia or something. I can't recall, but if you can, it would be great.
Maybe you have to co-own or something like that. Yeah,
something like that. But it's still sketchy in my opinion. I don't need stuff. I'll buy experiences. See, that is an
Experiences, huh?
experienced man indeed, Dirk.
Experiences, he says.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm. I don't hear anything. Wait. Pause it.
Let me stop sharing. Let me go back to the
Selling
trenches.
8% and buying Bitcoin, and then doing a back loan through BTC to buy back 8% of XRP. Now that is dedication. Selling 8% and buying BTC.
He said he was buying experiences. That always makes me think of this video right here.
15.
Those are your lucky numbers. Can I tell you what? Do you know your chances of winning?
Slim to none.
Slim to none. You're right. Let me tell you, it's 1 out of 292 million. What do you think about that?
I knew it.
You knew it. Your numbers are lucky, though. Am I right?
I hope so.
Can I ask you, if you won all the money, what would you do with it?
Bunch of hookers and cocaine.
Oh, okay, that's not good. We were hoping for a different answer. That's probably not the answer that we're looking for.
Imagine you're that reporter. That is your.
What can I say? The duality of man.
No, that is going to be an
duality
awkward
of
day
man.
back at the office. Yeah. A lot of people are not saying that out loud, though, but I guess. Oh, someone, I see the comments now. I hope he wins. Scared the reporter away now, didn't it? Perfect answer. What do you want it to lie? How does it?
I helped families selling Bitcoin at 8,000 during COVID. That's a noble thing to do as well, man. Respect.
I thought he meant he helped his family to sell their coins, and now they're all mad at him.
I'm selling my Bitcoin at wait. I helped family selling my Bitcoin at. Oh, you can yeah.
I think you're right on that. I think he sold his Bitcoin to help his family at 8K.
Yes.
But it could be that he just helped. I helped family selling my Bitcoin at 8,000, and now he's sad he sold his Bitcoin. I don't know.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Silver Baron says, I wanted to hit XRP, to hit $10 so I can retire and set up a new farm in Mountain 5. In the Mountain 5. Mountains. Ah, there we go. That's pretty cool.
Farm in the mountain, that sounds peaceful. The longer you play the trading game or you work in tech or whatever, the more you the more you want to live a peaceful life. For example, on a farm. So I respect that as well, man.
Man, you know how nice farms look? Like, I'm looking up farm in the mountains. It depends, I guess, on which country they're living in, but imagine. Ooh.
I was very close to my home.
It's going to say, like, this looks kind of Austrian. I know it's Switzerland, but still. Oh, yeah.
I was like banana for the governor of California.
Karma will come to you grand in a good way. I like his thinking process.
Amen.
If you've been doing good for your family right now, I guess even though your gains might be lower on the short term, maybe overall you'll figure it out. Dusty, what happened to your voice?
I think it's the stream.
Is my voice strange today? I don't know.
To me, no. But Arnold sounds like he's in the mountains. Yes, brother. How many likes do we have right now, guys? I want to check. We have 116 likes. If we
that's pretty good.
If we can get to 100, let's say 130, I'll transfer into Arnold for the remaining of the stream. Retiring the entire bloodline with XRP is the goal.
Oh, when I share my screen, my sound gets kind of strange, they say.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, when you share your screen, Arnold's voice will have echo. Okay, so I gotta, when I share my screen,
when you share it with audio. If you don't share it with audio, you don't hear the echo.
Oh, okay, let me turn that off then. There we go. All right,
what's up, Jane?
Hey, Dusty
XRP is going to $500 by the end of 2020, just based off the acquisitions made this year. Just watch. I like the enthusiasm. I like the enthusiasm. 500 would be crazy, honestly.
If it does, we'll get back to this.
It's gonna be like.
Don't even think about it, brother. Don't even think about it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the mental effort right here. If it happens, we'll go back to this post and realize that Joshua FPV was apparently more of a genius than we all shall be ever in our lifetimes. Because him right now is saying that I'll remember Joshua. Matter of fact, I'll tattoo you somewhere public. Maybe it should be like tattoo like right here.
Yeah,
right here. Just
absolutely.
Joshua
I'm gonna make a
FPV.
statue out of you and call my first two sons Joshua FPV. Not
Matter of
even
fact, that might be
Joshua.
better. Joshua FPV.
Yeah.
If XRP goes to $500, you're gonna get a statue in the middle of my house. Matter of fact, my wife will have to get a tattoo here on her face as well.
What is your
Joshua,
profile picture? That is a FPF drone, right? Yeah.
you know what? We don't have to talk about what the freaking weapons he's using. I don't know.
That's not a weapon. That's a drone. Let's see. No short for me. Just buy back lower. No short for me. Just buy back.
Did
So
anyone else short XRP today? I have a small short open, but it's a hedge. It's not actually because I'm that negative on the market. I just kind of like, I've been preaching, and this is my own preachings, right? I've been preaching that the market. Where is this little garbage ass post? Let me find it. Give me a second. Here we go. I've been preaching that Tuesday is the worst, at least a bad day always. And since Monday was neutral, kind of, we didn't really go up from 88 or anything like that. I decided that, what, Tuesday, I got to put my money where my mouth is and say the market's going to go negative. But I didn't really, as you can see, didn't really sell any of the main positions, really didn't do too much. Just have a small short open. And again, the grand scheme of things, I think it will bite me in the ass, but it was just kind of like to prove my point. Well, the market should be going down a bit today. Did I really believe the market's going to go down? Honest truth, yes. Like real talk, I did believe so. But something in the back of my freaking head is not allowing me to just sell my coins and be done with it. Then again, from almost any logical theory, we should be, exiting today and then buying back in a little bit later. Just again for risk reward. Ethereum $100 down, Bitcoin about 2,000 and a bit dollars down, XRP about 10 cents down, so 5%, let's call it.
Something like that, yeah.
How much is Google? Google is still up. Alphabet. Bitcoin down throughout this period. Since open, S&P about neutral, I'm going to call. Slight downward bias, but not that much, 0.3%.
Let's see. How is... So nothing much happening right now.
I'm going to show your screen here real quick. Which one is you showing? Can you...
Just XRP again. Still in very stable territory. I assume that we're gonna just let me remove the arrow for a second. I assume we're gonna hit the 50 EMA here, the blue line. I don't know why the blue is so. I want that to actually be. Why it's so soft. Thank you very much. So I think at least we're gonna reach the 50 EMA here, which is actually the light blue level, and then we're gonna test it. We're going to test it, and that's going to be essential because if we go any lower, then it would be the 200 EMA as like the second checkpoint. But let's keep our hopes up at this point. So again, the whole cycle and why it made sense that we're going down right now, because we made a big move, guys. We made about 11%, let's call it 12. And that requires counterbalance because that's at the end of the day, that's how the markets work. Of course, I would love to say that no, we're just gonna up, vertically up until $20, but that's unfortunately not how trading works and how market mechanics work. There always needs to be some balance. There's always going to be some people taking profits. Of course, the algorithms as well, they're programmed in such a way that they usually take short-term profits as well. And that's basically what's happening. So as long as we don't go lower than, let's say, like 204, because that's where we came from, then there is still a big hope that we're simply going to continue back up. I would say if we look at it from a Fibonacci perspective, because I would say this is like a single wave. The way I would see this right now in the blink of an eye is like wave 1, 2, then we have the impulse, correction, impulse. And then usually you have somewhere A, that's not A, small pullback, and then C. So this is what it would look like. And then price to go down, up, down, and then upwards like this. This would be a classic wave 1. And then if we look where we are right now on the Fibonacci level, the correction of the first wave. So this is a sub wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then these 5 waves are one bigger wave. And then usually you have a minimum correction to 0.38 Fibonacci. And where we are right now is, well, nothing near 0.382. 0.382, excuse me. So I think it would be realistic to expect guys to at least see price drop towards that $2.10 level. I think that's a minimum before we're gonna see bulls again. I don't see us going up from this moment. If it's gonna happen, it needs to happen very soon. We have to see a clear rejection and then fly up, because usually flying up from the 0.236 is quite rare for a wave. But again, time will tell. So all in all, I would say around this level, and I'll remove the Fibonacci because it's a bit so, is where we could see, price break and continue upwards. So yeah, still some bearish continuation, probably around, well, expect roughly something around 3% for the time being. That's more likely than the scenario that we're going to see a reaction here on the 0.236 and then fly up from here. But we'll see what price is going to do. And at this point, it's more or less waiting than trying to, react to something you're not 100% sure about. So I'm using the theory just to stack more confluences in my favor in order to determine where we are going exactly. So how many likes do we have at this point, my dear Dusty? We have 130. Did I say that I have to transform into Arnold from 130 or 150? I cannot recall, honestly speaking.
All I know is you said something just now about these, I think, short-term holders selling or something along those lines. Actually, there's an interesting chart I wanted to share in a video later, but I thought since you guys are watching the stream anyway, I thought I can also quickly bring it up here. I thought it was quite interesting. So breaking below 90, this is actually from a few days ago. I think before the 80K move or something like that, but still I think it's quite relevant. Breaking below 97,000, the lower boundary of last week's limbo range signaled a risk of deeper correction. Price then plunged to 89,000, forming a new local low beyond the -1 standard deviation level at around 95.4K. Relative to the short-term holder cost basis now near 109.5K. This breakdown confirms that losses now dominate nearly all recent investor cohorts, a structure that has historically triggered panic selling and weakened momentum, requiring time for the market to heal. This is basically what I discovered in the video yesterday. I covered it, where we basically covered that the majority of people selling right now are actually selling their cryptos at a loss. And for XRP, whenever the price goes below $2, there's about $1 billion or so worth of loss realizing going on every single week. And right now for Bitcoin, if we move on, in the short term, this $95,000 to $97,000 band can act as a local resistance. You know what's kind of funny? Right now, of course, we broke down even way significantly further down, but you realize that indeed, every single time these major key levels get broken, as support, basically, they are all of a sudden going to act as resistance. A lot of people forget that now on the way up, it's not just we could just quickly recover. No, theoretically speaking, there needs to be an impulse or some sort of pushing it back above these previous prices yet again. And so just how hard they were to be broken for the downside, for example, $100,000 was such a major psychological barrier, we also, theoretically speaking, are going to have to struggle to get back up there, especially since people are realizing their losses. They're taking that loss below these key levels and they're stopping, they're quitting. Now, of course, those are short-term holders, but those are also the ones that are most actively I'm going to say, just most actively trade the market. Not necessarily in the best of ways, but they are. Anyway, in short term, this 95 to 97K band can act as local resistance, and reclaiming it would be an early indication that the market is moving back towards a degree of equilibrium. But what it showcases here, you can see, right? We've got short-term holder cost basis, overheated plus 2 standard deviations, heated plus 1 standard deviation, cooled -1 standard deviation, and the Bitcoin price. And as I've showcased previously, let me quickly pull it up here, at least one of these. As I've shown previously, relative, this is again, with the orange line being the 200 moving average, and again, these are being extensions of the moving average. This is what a lot of people right now are using to discover basically where you could argue that things are overvalued, neutral, basically fair value overbought, or let's call it pricey or expensive, right? In this case, could be considered kind of cheap. What we're seeing right now is we are basically within neutral, but again, a lot of short-term holders are actually realizing losses because the cost basis for BTC is way higher than what we're seeing. This is something a lot of people are not noticing, and why perhaps the prices are dumping slightly more than you would expect because we're getting below all the major key levels. And people are selling here and they're selling at a loss. And those people tend to not come back so quickly because they just accepted their loss. just wanted to quickly put that up on the side. Let me quickly see here. So, side note, this is interesting. Why most of the altcoins are having a slight little slash when in reality, we are actually going sideways for both the S&P, Google, and Bitcoin. Altcoins taking a bit of a beating extra. Don't necessarily deserve it. Somebody says Bitcoin will go down to $74,000 soon. What do you think about that, Arnie? You think 74,000 is in the pipeline?
74,000 on Bitcoin.
That's what he's saying. Sasha's saying that.
Well, we pull it up again, and we'll have scenario number 2. I think it's theoretically it's very possible indeed, but again, as I said before, I first want to see that clean break of 50. If we're gonna see already a bearish move from the 50 EMA, then for me it's more likely that scenario 2 is indeed gonna happen. And wave 5, this is also textbook. It doesn't mean that it's gonna happen 100% like this, but I'm just using the textbook mechanics. Wave 5 is usually something 100% of wave 1, which means that we could go to 72. This is all textbook, of course. Can you?
Oh, I guess he glitched out. He says, "Can you still hear?" Maybe he decided to press the button, or somebody had to mute his own mic. He's like, "Can you still hear me?" And then he crashed out. Not 100% sure. Anyway, boys, if you've not done it yet, make sure you press the like button. I will keep reiterating my similar thoughts, or the ones that I've shared quite recently here, which is, this may be a scary point to buy Bitcoin at. It may be so, very much so, or XRP for that matter. But realize that over a prolonged period of time, even though these may not be the most cheapest of cheapest, matter of fact, cheapest kind of starts at $83,000 a BTC minus. Over XRP, it starts at $2 minus, but more importantly, the $180 range for XRP or so. It's hard to see it when those prices are happening as a blessing. It's easier afterwards to say that those were good prices. Let me see. I think he's back in. Let me quickly confirm. Test.
Yes, can only hear you loud and clear. I have no idea what happened, but
sure, buddy. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, brother. We're not asking questions. We're just looking at you.
I'm just here for fun,
Oh, wait. Let me give me one second. Let me see how I can. I was going to show you guys this, but for some reason my chart reset here. I was going to showcase that, interestingly enough, let me refresh this. I was going to say, interestingly enough, what we're seeing right now for the stock market is also record-breaking, quote-unquote, bad numbers. So what I'm referring to is, let me quickly see if this is coming on in. How do I share this the best way? I guess I could just do it like this. What we're seeing right now, right, for the NASDAQ, for example, is the absolute worst November we have seen basically ever, it feels like, right? But at least for forever, because ever since 2008, I don't believe there's been as negative of a November. This is, again, the NASDAQ. A lot of people are not realizing that whatever's happening with Bitcoin right now is not as unique, because every single thing is going down right here. Nvidia just moved down what? I just got a notification. Nvidia down, let's see here, I think like a few $100 billion. How much is it down exactly just now? I just got a notification.
That's
something just absolutely massive. NASDAQ still as a whole looking down tremendously bad, even though November usually is a plus 2.75% month, right? October usually being quite bullish. We went above that expectation. And here's the theory that some are having. Since this August-September phase usually is less positive, and we broke September by plus 5%, we broke August by, in this case, a little. This is on the NASDAQ. That this time around, things are slightly changed around. Matter of fact, actually the entirety of the middle of the year onwards was so freaking good. Normally in May plus 1.7, this time plus 9. Normally in June plus 1%, this time plus 6. As most of the numbers, except for July, broke the previously average numbers, this time around in November, or at least somewhere, it has to have a slight correction. Or it doesn't necessarily have to, but it's not as crazy too. It doesn't look that crazy in the grand scheme of things. However, I would say that it could still turn around. We still have got ourselves a few more days, let's call it a half a week here, to turn this number around. Not sure if it will, but as you can see today, the market could be up so much or so in just a few minutes, just in 5 minutes. Things can happen really fast. Don't think just because we've had a bad November thus far that it has to end bad either, or it has to end bad as well. It's just my thoughts on the matter. Which
That's a
chart you got
fair
open right?
assessment, I would say. AMD right now, but I'm not particularly looking at that. So I don't know at what point my application just shut down. But yeah, I think it's perfectly possible that we're going to see 74 in case we have scenario 2, meaning that we're going to have a big bearish reaction around the 50 EMA, which is the light blue line you see on the chart. So I think it's possible, but at the same time, if we have a huge bullish surge from the 50 EMA and this confident push, then I would say the other scenario is going to play out, meaning that wave 5 actually is already finished. But again, time will tell. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
And at these moments, it's best to just sit on your hands and wait.
All right. And I think, do you have anything else really important to add? Because I don't want to keep these guys too long, because I think we've covered the majority of it. We've covered the most important moves here. We've covered the majority of what I think was necessary. Perhaps we should just be back tomorrow with yet another stream when we get some more crazy news popping up. Because again, otherwise, you know, we might be keeping them too much. Sorry, in 1 hour and a little bit. So unless you've got something pressing to address to these folk, I think it's okay to give this a little ending.
Well, I think it's time to explain that I'm gonna catch my chopper, obviously, but while I'm in the chopper, I'm gonna think very hard about the next steps the market will make, obviously, and I will be dedicated into sharing this with you guys. And yeah, I might be an old man at this stage, but I would like to really address these problems for you and give you some clarity, you know. So that is that.
Zad is asking. Yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate you so much for stopping by at the stream, saying hi. Make sure you press that like button if you're heading off here. We'll be back later today, probably with some video or stream, depending on, of course, what happens in the market. If we go back to 180, you bet your ass I'll be back here just crying tears of happiness because I get to buy a dip, and of course also cries and tears of just, you know, sadness because I'm losing my entire freaking portfolio. That's about it for this little stream. So you guys get another one. Peace out, guys.
Get to the chopper.